Hello and welcome to Prime Business. I am Pius Kujubaka. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, has highlighted a fresh set of risks to inflation outlook. The governor argued that this could impact the setting of the new policy rate in the coming days. George Yafe has more.
Addressing members of the Monetary Policy Committee, the Bank of Ghana governor noted that these developments should act as a guide in whatever the members would do.
We must be aware, colleagues, of the risks going forward, such as a resumption of exchange rate volatility, crude oil price could increase, and the potential impact of some taxes to be imposed within the context of the mid-year budget review.
Dr. Johnson Isiama also maintained that the members should look at the current macroeconomic situation, whatever decision that they will take.
And of course, how these can affect pricing behavior. Colleagues, these can cause a shift in inflation expectations, and there are risks that we cannot take lightly at all. So I encourage staff and MPC members to maintain a strong focus on these forward-looking risks, these policy trade-offs, and the need to provide credible guidance to the market. Our mandate, colleagues, is clear, and that is to maintain price stability while enabling the conditions for inclusive and sustainable growth.
He also gave a clean bill of health for the banking sector as well as the fiscal situation.
Economic activity has picked up significantly. Provisional GDP data for the first quarter of 2025 indicates a real growth of 5.3% that is driven mainly by strong performance in agriculture and services. The banking sector, colleagues, remains stable with improvements in liquidity, profitability, and solvency. The capital adequacy ratio, excluding regulatory reliefs, rose to 18.2% in June 2025. However, the non-performing loans ratio remains elevated at 23.1%, warranting continued supervisory attention.
Dr. Isiama also highlighted the role of monetary policy in stabilizing the economy and its impact on the business environment. But for some, the concerns raised by the governor of the Bank of Ghana showed that we should be measured in our expectations, especially for those who are looking forward to a huge cut in the policy rate.
This evening, the Securities and Exchange Commission is cautioning the public about the recent rise in fraudulent investment schemes in the country. According to SEC, the schemes are not licensed but are designed solely to defraud the investing public. More in this report.
The SEC cautioned the public to be careful of the modus operandi used by the fraudsters. These include the use of images of public officials and influential persons in investment adverts, use of artificial intelligence to mimic voices, videos, and faces, as well as operate faceless entities on social media. The SEC also warned that the fraudulent schemes often promise unreasonably high returns within the shortest possible time. It assured that it is actively working with relevant law enforcement agencies to investigate and dismantle these fraudulent operations and will continue to take all necessary steps to protect investors.
The Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT, Kwesi Afrɛ-Baini, has reiterated that SSNIT will not sell any of its assets, especially the Labadi Beach Hotel, under any circumstances. Speaking at the official launch of the Trust's 60th anniversary celebration here in Accra, Mr. Baini addressed public concerns over SSNIT's hotel investments. More in this report.
The 60th anniversary celebration of SSNIT is expected to feature a series of activities highlighting the Trust's impact on social protection, pension administration, and investment in Ghana. Director General at SSNIT, Kwesi Afrɛ-Baini, said SSNIT is focused on optimizing its investment portfolio to ensure long-term sustainability and better returns for contributors.
I stand here today and we are all gathered here, Labadi Beach Hotel, a beautiful edifice, is one of our investments wholly owned 100% by SSNIT. And we assure you that it will not be sold under our watch. Facing our imperfections. Whilst we take pride in these compliments, we are also mindful that impact is not measured by investments alone. It's measured by how well we serve, how honestly we reflect, and how courageously we encourage. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, allow me to speak honestly about our journey. SSNIT has not always gotten everything right. There were times when we moved too slowly, systems that should have served better, decisions we made didn't always meet public expectations, and yes, at times we fell short.
Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, special guest of honor, noted in her remarks that since its inception, the Social Security Scheme has evolved into a formidable national institution, protecting the livelihoods of millions of Ghanaians.
Distinguished guests, as we celebrate, we must also pause for reflection. We must aim to make the scheme stronger, more equitable, and more sustainable, and to broaden coverage to reach informal sector workers and the self-employed. The next phase of social security in Ghana must be driven by inclusion, sustainability, and adaptability.
Chief of Staff Julius Debra, chairman for the occasion, assured SSNIT of government commitment to supporting management in delivering on its mandate.
This Diamond Jubilee is an opportunity to reflect on a legacy of service and to reaffirm our shared commitment to strengthening and sustaining social security scheme for the future generations. I look forward to working closely with everyone to ensure that this important milestone leaves a lasting legacy and inspires confidence in the scheme.
SSNIT plans to embark on nationwide sensitization to educate Ghanaians, especially the youth, informal sector workers, and self-employed about the value of pension contributors and social security.
And to some other stories, Group Chief Executive for Agri Impact, Daniel Akwe, has called on government to consider establishing an agribusiness fund to support small-scale agricultural businesses in the country. According to him, the sector has been neglected despite the impact it has had on the economy and food security, hence the need for dedicated funding. He made the call at the National Agribusiness Dialogue. More in this report.
Speaking at the sidelines of the maiden National Agribusiness Dialogue, Chief Executive of Agri Impact Limited, Daniel Akwe, stressed the need for adequate funding from government to support food production. He proposed an allocation of funds from sectors like the extractive industry to be used as agri-fund to support smallholder farmers and players in the value chain.
If you look at the extractive industry pays loyalties to governments. And if we can set a percentage of the royalties and the inflows that we get from the extractive industry, the mining and the oil industry, that these are extractive industry. Agriculture and agribusiness is regenerative industry. So if you have revenue coming from the extractive industry, set aside a percentage of it and pull it into an agri fund and use it to finance the one that is regenerative and that is more environmentally sustainable. And once we are able to do that, then as government, it's not every time that government is depending on development organization to bring grants before we can develop our agribusiness sector.
Meanwhile, in his keynote speech, President John Dramani Mahama has assured of adequate resources to build infrastructure in the agricultural value chain. He therefore disclosed plans by the 24-hour Economy Secretariat to consider locally produced items for all government procurement.
The government is also going to give preference to products manufactured in Ghana. And so as I speak, the 24-hour Plus Secretariat is compiling a comprehensive list of products that are manufactured in Ghana, including agro-processed products. And because government is the biggest spender in the economy, those products will be given priority in case of any procurement by any government agency before It's only when they cannot find a product that is manufactured in Ghana that they will be permitted to buy a foreign product. This should give a good market to agri-business industries.
The dialogue is being organized by the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Agribusiness under the theme Researching Agribusiness for Inclusive and Sustainable Industrial Growth.
And Ghana's total earnings from production and crude exports have dropped significantly for the first half of this year compared to the same period for last year. The Ghana Petroleum Fund's report showed that the country got $370 million for the first 6 months of this year compared to the $840 million secured in the same period last year. And these are earnings from taxes paid by the oil exploration firms as well as rentals for that period. And that's it for Prime Business for today. I am Pius Kojo-Baka. We have more for you when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Prime Sports is next.